On Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, Jenkins LTS 2.528.1 was released. In the show, we're going to be looking at all the changes that occurred in that release. If you're new here, hi, my name is Darin Pope, and along with me, I have Mark Waite. Mark, how are you doing?
Just great, Darin.
Good to see you again. It's been a month.
It has been.
So we're at our first LTS for this new cycle, or the .1. What is the proper way to say that?
Yeah, it's a new LTS baseline.
New TLTS. Okay, great. So, in case people don't understand what the Jenkins LTS process is, or weeklies, or anything else, why don't you take a minute to explain that?
Sure. So Jenkins releases a new version every week. Every week we roll out a new version, but every 12 weeks we choose a new baseline. That baseline then is stabilized. We backport a few things to it, and it becomes release .1, so 2.528.1. 4 weeks later, we release 2.528.2. 4 weeks after that, 2.528.3. And then we start the cycle again 4 weeks later with a new baseline.
Now, with this one, this is the last baseline of the year, I believe.
It is, right. So October, November, and December, and then we're done for the year, and the next release will happen in January, new baseline.
New baseline. By the way, we can go ahead and say it this way too. There will be a 2-week break around the Christmas time. I can't remember when that happens.
Yes, it's so after the last release of December, we'll take 2 weeks of quiet and then start the 12 weeks clock again.
Right. Okay. So this .1 was big but not big.
Yeah, actually,
it didn't feel huge.
It's got some, what I'd call, some really cool things in it that we want to talk about. But in terms of massive impact or huge compatibility risks, no. So on the one hand, there are some interesting things for performance and for usability improvements. But in terms of massive, big, scary changes, no.
Unless you're using one plugin. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
Okay, so if you haven't looked at the release notes before, go to jenkins.io, go to download, then you're going to see stable and weekly. So we'll click on changelog underneath stable. And let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit. So far, so good. Again, it's only been out 20, almost 30 hours now, I think, by the time we're doing this live. So it's pretty good. We've got bug fixes, but notice these were changes since 5.28. We'll get into that in just a minute. But these are the big changes since the last release of the .3. I want to start with this one. Mm-hmm. Debian moving to Trexie. I noticed today, as we're doing this live, it's October 16th, Raspberry Pi and a handful of others, Peppermint OS, all the others have now rebaselined to Trixie.
Right.
So we're just right along with them as well.
We are now the interesting or the challenging part for this for users who are basing their own container images on Jenkins container images is that if they're based on one of the Debian image, they may see a difference in packages that are available between Debian 12 Bookworm and Debian 13 Trixie. You just have to test your installation, your Docker file, and see that it is well behaved. Mine that I use that installs a relatively few extra packages had no problem with it. So, but there have been other users who reported, "Ooh, I was doing this relatively exotic thing, and it was a problem because Trixie has something different than Bookworm did."
Right. You are testing your images if you're baking your own, right? Just
right.
checking.
Absolutely. And that's actually one of the benefits of doing container images, right? Is it's easier to test them.
Right. Updates to various UI elements, and breadcrumbs now have a visual indicator and are compatible with accessibility guidelines. That's actually a big one.
I like that one, and I think we ought to highlight that one. So I think you've got it available there.
I do. So we're on ci.jenkins.io. Now, we have to drill down just a little bit, so I'm going to go to core, and I'm going to go to Jenkins. And what you'll notice here in the breadcrumb is prior to this release, or prior to in between .3 and .1, this little arrow got added because it didn't exist before.
Right.
When the header happened in, was it the beginning of the last? Of
it
5.16
was 2.516. 2.516.
That's when it first came in. So now you can actually drop down and sort of get what you would expect. Right. So that's there.
Yeah, so the previous would lay it out, 2.516 would lay it out as the drop-down would come under the word core, and it would show 2 columns. And the problem with 2 columns is now your navigation is really strange.
It's wonky, yeah.
Whereas here we've got a single column. Everything's in the one column. So it's just a better navigation result.
Okay. And that's all we need to show on that, correct?
That's right.
Okay, good. Trying to remember the secondary. Okay, anyway. Again, as you said in setting this up, nothing major, but there's a lot of visual things that you may not even notice as visual.
Right, exactly. The various UI elements updates, those are ones that it just feels a little smoother, and you may not even recognize it at a perceptual level, but it's gotten better compared to 5.16.
Okay. Improved performance with additional caching of Java classes. Okay, sure. Nobody's going to see that. Or is it a big deal?
No, it's not a big deal, but I'm just delighted that we had a contributor who came in, took the time to find a way to do this and showed that, hey, it does help. Let's do it this other way.
Okay. Apply the current theme color palette to shut down and safe restart. I guess those were just missed over time and life goes on.
Just get the colors right.
I want to skip this next one. We'll come back to it. Use a new name format for subdirectories of Jenkins home users. Now, this is shown as an enhancement. To me, this feels more major enhancement.
Okay, all right.
Because to me, this is more structural. This is a big structural change to me. It's not from a big perspective, but you're telling me, oh, wait, we're changing the name of the format, stop creating a redundant users XML, which I've always wondered why that was there. But to me, that's the reason why I classify this one as a major, even though it's not a major.
See, and I was in the other direction, hesitant to even include it in the changelog because I'm not sure users will detect it. But it's important enough that it got included in the changelog. It's not something that an end user will actually ever see, but administrators may.
Right. And that's the reason why because, okay, yes, I used Jenkins, but I was more of an administrator than a user.
Right.
So anytime you're changing out effectively the database underneath me, I like to know these things. So that's a good one. Monitor badge display fix, refine, show parameters. Oh, this was actually interesting. Show parameters of a run in read-only mode. I can't remember the details on that.
Yeah,
but I remember looking at it, was interesting.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, it was that if you were viewing a page and you did not have permission to run the job, you were only allowed to read it, it would not show you the parameters that were used for that run. And this now says, hey, we're going to show those parameters to you. If you're allowed to read the job page, you should be allowed to read the parameters that were used to run the job.
Yep. Reducing some noise. Okay.
Yeah, again,
especially on this one, closed channel.
Right. Jenkins does a lot of communication, and closing a channel is a thing. So, yeah.
Big change of SSH CLI changing over to EDCA, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Using now, again, that's one we expect users won't see, but sometimes it's important, and so it's mentioned in the changelog.
Right. A bunch of localization changes.
Right.
Let's look at the bug fixes. Fix a race condition in the WebSocket agent connection initialization.
Right.
That would be something I would probably not see, but I would be really annoyed when it happens.
Right, exactly. And that's one where, race conditions, that means it doesn't happen every time, but when it does happen, you're wondering what happened. Exactly.
Right. So that was fixed, thankfully. I have a feeling I know who fixed it. I haven't looked at it, but it's those are interesting problems to solve. Friendlier HTTP response. I think to me this was also sort of related back to this other parameters I got, because those were two big parameter things to me. I use a lot of parameterized jobs, so
okay,
that was a big one. And also this incorrect parameter name and quiet down. Okay.
Right,
no big deal. CSS. Okay, that's all I can. That's all I have to say. Just CSS.
Cascading style sheets are great. We love them, but sometimes we have to adapt to be sure that we're using the latest stuff.
Stop printing an incorrect log message when retrieving agent labels. What was that one about?
Yeah, again, logging noise is not a great thing. We want to reduce logging noise, and this is one of those places where let's not put noise into the logs that we don't have to.
Right. Some more CSS, and avoid queue items being lost if the node disconnects at a bad time. Well, you don't ever want to lose queue items anyway, right?
Yeah, an item in the queue is usually something that's going to be built, and so that's usually a job that's going to be run, and you don't want to lose that thing. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. We on purpose we skipped one. I'm still going to skip that a little bit one more time. Since 528, so since 516 was picked as the baseline, that means there was a 517 and 18 and 19, 20, 20 all those things had happened. I'm sorry, I went to the wrong place. 528 changes since 528. Okay, so we're now what, 532?
Correct.
Was the weekly this week.
That's
so
right.
I misspoke there. So we've had 528, 529, 530, 531, 532. These three were backported from somewhere along those lines up to 32. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't 32. It was probably 31.
Right.
Nothing huge here. This was the head scratcher to me. Remove Eclipse modifier class to ensure code compiles as expected.
Yeah, so this was one that we've got some of our developers who are developing on Jenkins Core who use Eclipse as their IDE. And if Jenkins Core doesn't compile for them in their Eclipse IDE, it's a distraction. So this is a change that ultimately wouldn't be visible to most users because it's for developers. But we put it in just to remind.
Yep. And a couple of visualization, fix number comparison from min-max to form value. Okay. Now,
Yeah, no, you skipped over that second one, and
I did.
I
You
don't
wanna
want to
skip it?
I don't want to let you get away with that because
Okay.
for me, this one was a distraction for me because when I run the Jenkins setup wizard to verify a bug report or to check some problem, inevitably I go to the plugin installation page, click on the page that lets me choose which plugins, and I couldn't choose none because it was gone. And this gives me back that capability. So it was just some CSS that had to be adjusted, but it was, whoops, we missed something.
Well, I'm lazy. I always take suggested and never go down the all or none path. So that's
All right.
I never customize.
Got it.
This one though, I want to. Math isn't hard, except when it is. When you treat numbers like strings,
Right.
math is hard, which is what this problem was. Because isn't it always interesting that you go from, typically you think you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But if it's strings, you go 1, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Right. 1, 10, 11, 12 to...
Oh, that's true.
It's really, really bad. Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that was fixed, which I'm happy with. Now, let's go back to the item that we've just sort of stayed away from. And that's removing the extension list HTTP endpoint and related telemetry. Users of the timestamper plugin, which going back to what we were talking about with the suggested plugin, but it is a suggested plugin. So if you follow the suggested path, you have timestamper. You should upgrade to the latest version or newer to cover that. Now, explain to me what this is about. Why was it removed?
Yeah. So what needed to be done is we needed to get rid of an unused entry point. It was really there, and timestamper had a nonsense dependency on it, if I remember correctly, and that nonsense dependency was removed to get rid of that thing. We could read the pull request if you'd like more details, but ultimately the solution is from your current Jenkins install, be sure you update all plugins before you update to 2.5.28.1, because the timestamper plugin version it's mentioning here can be upgraded on your old version, right? Assuming you're only 1 or 2 LTS versions out of date, you can already do that upgrade. So all you have to do is follow our usual recommendation. Please upgrade your plugins, then upgrade Jenkins, then upgrade your plugins again.
Well, back up, upgrade plugins, upgrade Jenkins.
Oh,
upgrade
yes,
plugins.
yes, right, absolutely. Back up first. Thank you.
Back up
Good,
first.
good story, right?
Okay. So to me, that is an upgrade issue. So let's go take a look at the upgrade guide. Always, always, always look at the upgrade guide,
Good.
because you can end up ignoring it if there's nothing there, which is typically not. But today we have 3 items. We just talked about one. The time stamper needs to be upgraded before you upgrade. Because if you don't, what happens?
Well, if I remember right, the only impact is that timestamper may be badly behaved. I'd have to double check though. I confess I'm not sure on how bad the impact is.
Okay. Secondly, container images. This is just a rehash of basically what you just said.
Right. We had talked about containers. Hey, know that we're switching from one major version of Debian 12, to a new major version, Debian 13.
Right. But here's the big point. Configuration code entry for my views tab bar is deprecated. Now, if you're not using configuration as code, no problem.
Right.
If you're using configuration as code, this is now deprecated. Now, are we using the word deprecated correctly, or is it actually been terminated?
No, I think it is correctly used here, is that you'll just get a warning. If you're configured to allow deprecation messages to hard stop you, you'll be hard stopped.
Right.
So, but there is an option in configuration as code that says when something's deprecated, don't hard stop me.
Okay. But that's it. Those are the only 3 items for the upgrade guide.
All right.
So really, to me, the biggest one out of this is timestamper, because timestamper installation is probably close, it's not going to be the same number as the Git plugin, but it's going to be a high number like that, correct?
It is certainly a popular plugin, right?
Yeah. So just make sure you upgrade that. And if it's going sideways after you forget to do it and you upgrade Jenkins, okay, well, this is probably
upgrade
your
timestamper.
Yep. And if you're scared of upgrading everything else at the time, I will say this: just upgrade timestamper just itself. Don't do everything.
Right.
Just do that one plugin, get it stable, and then you can go through and because timestamper itself is actually a fairly innocuous plugin.
Right. Not an awful lot of dependencies. Not a huge bunch of functionality.
Right. Good. Okay. So with all that in mind, have we covered everything?
I think we have.
We have. Okay. So the next release is going to be, looking at my notes, scheduled for November 12th. That's Wednesday. So we'll be back here on November 13th, which is before U.S. Thanksgiving. At the same time, we'll be back at 4:30 Eastern. And we'll still be here at 4:30 Eastern, but we'll be here at 4:30 true Eastern and not Eastern Daylight, because November 4th is when the U.S. changes. By the way, all of our friends over in Europe, I think you change a week or 2 later. So welcome to calendar meetings all messed up for a few weeks in a very short time. So, thanks everybody for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet to the Jenkins CI/CD channel, please go ahead and do that. Let your friends know. And especially if you're getting some value out of this, leave us a comment. We'd appreciate it. And Mark, it was good seeing you again, and we'll be back in a month. And to everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again in about a month.